I don't think Mikumo is a Windermere, though.
She used the Windermerian word for that title thing that these guys have thrown around. The king
That
used
might not
it.
be
Hines
Windermere.
used it.
That might be proto-culture language. They have their own language.
I don't. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Stoneface Reactions. I'm Theta, this is Lessons, and we are back with episode 20 of Macross Delta. We just got done being refreshed on everything we've ever watched so far.
Yeah.
You know, first time we've done it this show. And, you know, not for nothing, we are technically here essentially at the very end. I think I refreshed the schedule for our recording for this month and next month. The hopeful schedule of what we're going to be doing. And essentially, we'll be finishing off Macross Delta by the end of next month and have nothing left really except for Macross 2, which obviously won't have any shared history with anything else.
Yeah.
I don't foresee any refresher on the stuff that's happened. They might, although I think my knowledge of Macross 2 is that it happens a long time in the future from Macross 1, so they might, like, remember Space War 1? No, I think it's supposed to be like 100 years.
80 years. It's 80 years.
Oh, I thought you said 8 years. That's why I was like, no, it's not that close.
No, it's 80 years. We'll talk about Macross 2 Lovers again when we get to Macross 2 Lovers again. We don't want to spoil anything.
No, I was just comparing it to our last episode. The last episode, we got this whole history of events again, and that we're supposed to, according to the proposed schedule that I have up for us, do that 2 months from now, essentially, ending the Macross watch through until the new show comes along,
which is in pre-production, so it will take about 2 or 3 years to come out, or maybe next year.
Oh, just enough time to finish Legends of the Galactic Heroes.
Yeah.
Considering how far we are into Gaiden, and then the show itself.
Yeah.
The 100-episode original show.
It's going to take a while. I was going to say something that I said I was going to say during the episode, and we are in the episode, so I should say that.
Yeah, but then we wasted all of our time talking about Tom and Jerry versus Wile E. Coyote.
Yeah. That was.
And unfortunately, I can't help you here because I specifically said, "Well, what are you talking about?" Wait, hold it on until we're recording, so I don't even know what you were going on about.
What I said. Yeah. I mean, I was talking about the last episode and how they did a recount of everything up to this point. Not everything that happened in Delta itself, but rather all the other shows starting with SEF Macross. Well, actually, hinting at Zero, but they only show the mecha from Zero flying in. They actually don't show anything about Birdman or anything like that. But it's like, oh yeah, those were the designs from that era, all the way till now. And I said that had the show not spent as much time with filler episodes and giving us those things mixed in, like as part of the episode, we would not need this episode or last episode, episode 19, to tell us all this, because essentially we only have 6 episodes to go. They're basically rushing to the end, right? It's like,
well, no,
we're gonna make sure everybody's caught up, and we're moving from here.
We're not rushing to the end. Well, clearly they're not rushing to the end of the US this episode. They're not rushing to the end because all they really did was introduce the concept of Mikumo might be something more than she appears to be, and music as weapon. Like, that's not stuff that was necessary to rush to the end. Mikumo being off is something we already kind of figured out from the very beginning. Music as weapon was introduced in Macross 7. Granted, you don't like that, but whatever, it is what it is. And the idea that it's here now, like, we didn't need a whole history of Macross for them to introduce the idea of what Macross 7 said. Might have been also been why I was excited that possibly Shiba showed up. Because Macross's weapon, music as weapon, would be one thing for the weapons guy to say. But then to have Chiba show up and reinforce music as healing would have been the other side of the coin if we were going to do that.
That's something that you say happened, but I never seen evidence that it actually is healing.
Your argument about the flu or whatever is separate. from the argument that music is healing. Music is healing is why they play music for everybody in the hospital throughout the rest of Macross, for people that aren't being drained of their spiritua. It is said that
No, the music was always for the people at spiritual.
no, because there's being
people
played at the hospital that's not specifically also just for the spiritual drained people. It's being played for everybody because they're saying that the music has healing benefits.
That part. I don't remember. I don't remember that it had an effect on people who have been drained from.
I mean,
spiritual.
fair enough. I'm gonna always keep arguing you about the flu element thing because you're just not paying attention to that episode. But for the rest of it, elements that you don't remember, obviously, I'll have to give away the same basis of the things that I say, which is to say, when you bring up stuff and I blatantly don't remember and say I just have to disagree with you because I don't remember, I have to concede you that point as well. For the stuff that you don't remember, obviously you're full on arguing against the flu thing, so I can argue that point against you, but that's not the basis of which I say music as healing. That is just something Chiba came up with, and it was a big element of the show. I also remember I had big old notes about, I hope this continues forwards. The element that spiritua is actually something like willpower and energy. We can use sound force weapons as anti crowd weaponry. Like, you can just make people weak without actually having to hurt anybody. And by the same token, you can excite people without actually having to do anything negative.
But here is a weapon of control. So,
well, it's not being presented in the same way Macross 7 did. They just kind of using all the elements of the way music has been used in the past shows as a, hey, think about that, but now think about what we're doing now, or what this could mean for the future of music as the proto-culture established that it was supposed to be. Which
is actually to Macross Plus, if you think about it. Sharon using her abilities to control people through music and something else.
I mean, I argue it's
hypnotic patterns.
All pretty stupid. Not just Macross Plus stuff. I mean, the conceit that the proto-culture like hardwired us for music or whatnot. I would have accepted like string theory or something like, actually the entire universe is established on a vibrational basis, and thus music is just an extension of the vibrations that create the universe.
Wait. You would accept that the universe is built this way with string theory and the what's called the harmony of the spheres, right? Yeah. But the protoculture who deliberately mess with the genes of all these creatures since zero,
because one is a sci-fi staple of just, hey, let's use hard science fiction and just create what we can in the space.
That's not the music of the spheres is not hard sci-fi. It's actually
string theory is hard sci-fi.
Yeah, well, that's quantum mechanics.
Well, it's not even hard sci-fi. It's just known accepted science at the moment. Obviously, it can be proven.
It doesn't work with the fact that there's vacuum, and vacuum shouldn't transmit music, but
Well, because it's not actual vibration. I'm not getting into science because all that ends up is you say something, it makes you sound super right and smart in a moment, and later on I'll go back into editing and like, here's the thing I was referencing, and it's like, well, good, now I just look stupid on screen, and anything I was actually trying to talk about, there's no point in this. Many years now, there's no point in getting these kind of debates.
But the thing I have an issue with is that we already have established since Macross Zero that the protoculture not only uses music because they use music, the people who use music to activate their devices, but also mess with the human genome.
Let me ask you this. What is your end run on this? That I should feel stupid for not accepting one thing, or that I am not accepting the material for not accepting one thing?
I'm going for the second one. You shouldn't feel stupid about this. It's just that I find it curious that you're willing to go to a thing that the show really hasn't established.
No, I understand that the show hasn't established. I'm saying what I would prefer. And my preference is what I'm willing to go on the ride with. Now, I understand that the show hasn't established, like, string theory and whatnot. But I think that, 2015, yeah. I think it's pretty well established in the writer's consciousness what consciousness, in the writer's conceit of science of what might be possible. And granted, I am also the person who loves callbacks and whatnot, so you'd think calling back to Birdman edits the human species, or our own conceit of the globular cluster might be the protoculture messing with species. I just think the idea that the protoculture messed with us to like music is just dumb. I think that in my head that resonates as dumb as any of the storylines you hated from Macross 7. It's like, what are we doing here? Cool, they got us to like music.
It was no. I think it's not that to like music. It's that they could use music to control people.
That's something you kept saying while they were explaining it, and I don't think that's what they were saying. You were putting pieces together as they were still talking about pieces. Like, you were trying to guess the puzzle as the puzzle was still being put together. So I think that's
that was what they actually ended up saying. Yeah, it's a weapon to control people.
Not really, because that only applies to the
said at the end.
Look, stop. I think this is an element that we might just have to come back with notes for. And if you want to come back with notes to say, here's you're wrong, and here's all my receipts, do it. Just do it. But for right now,
do it.
Yeah, for right now, I was focusing on the things that I really enjoyed, which is the flashback stuff. Obviously, getting to see Macross 7 stuff on the screen. Everything I talked about before when we had our big argument about who Imolent's dad is, who Hayate's dad is, about loving callbacks and everything like that. I was focusing more on the stuff that I was really enjoying, and obviously not so much on what their Epsilon's read on what might be possibly going on with the protoculture and everything. Because I only specifically remember calling out the fact that they said, oh, they kind of bioengineered everybody to be like this. And I'm like, that only really applied to Zentradi in your own example. So I don't agree with the things you're saying from the element of I didn't pick up on them and I don't have my notes to lean back on for this.
Well, then we should watch this episode, and next time we'll take notes and see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's like coming to a debate with nothing. Like, well, I see my opponent has 15 stacks of paper. I don't have my phone. It's not going to play well for either side, I don't think. I don't think you're going to be satisfied nailing me down on nothing. All right, that said, let's go ahead and hop on in and see what we get.
But before we get started,
make sure that you hit the like button,
hit that subscribe button,
comment down below to feed that algorithm.
On top of all that, if you want to watch more shows like this,
unfiltered,
uncensored,
and uncut,
as well as some early access stuff,
you can check it out over on the Patreon.
It's just $5 a month, but hey, no pressure.
There's zero pressure in order to do that. It's just a little bit of extra support, and it would be greatly appreciated.
いよいよですね。颯君とフレイヤの実験。本当に必要だと思いますか?
Thank God he brought up the medical staff. I was worried that we were back in episode 4 or 5. Legitimately, you guys could test for the bacteria shit back in Frontier.
I mean, yeah, but that was a mystery whether or not they didn't know about it, at least in the Frontier.
Yeah, you know, the thing you said, what do you think about the bacteria? And he said, I don't know. And it's like, well, do a test.
ああ、平気だ。実験なんてとっとと終わらせちまおうぜ。お前の歌を聴いても俺はへっちゃらだってことをバシッと証明してやるから。だから気にせずに全力で歌えよ。な。
うん、わかった。
Also, I think now that I'm thinking about it, when they said they left the dimension, I think they actually meant galaxy.
Could be.
We saw them rising up from, like, weirdly, the center of the galaxy, which isn't where they should be anyway. But rising up out of the galaxy and then thinking about the Labyrinth of Time, where we saw the projection going outside the galaxy above it.
Yeah.
Probably went to the same place the Proto-Devlin went. Nah, probably not. Why? They're not as fast as the Proto-Devlin. The Proto-Devlin are way faster.
Also, why would they?
Because the Proto-Devlin are, in fact, inhabiting living creatures, and the Vajra are living creatures, so probably went leaving the galaxy to the closest place that a living creature could probably survive.
It could. I mean,
If not,
doesn't necessarily mean that
not talking like
we don't even know
destination.
where.
I'm not talking
the
destination.
bar-
I'm not talking destination. I'm talking stop-alongs. If you're leaving the place and there's only like one place on the path that a living creature could get like sustenance, a break, or whatever, you're probably gonna stop there on the way to wherever the fuck you're going. I don't
Well, that's a
imagine.
big if. If it's the only place, we don't
Well,
know.
I think there are a limited number of extra galactic locations. Well, I mean, unless you're heading to the Lesser Magellan Cloud or any of the Magellan Clouds, depends on which direction you're going. I remember I specifically looked up planets outside the galactic plane when I was looking up the Mawaznian's home system for Voltace 5.
実験
ああ、フレイヤとの共鳴についてな。
共鳴だったら前にもしてたろ。なんで今さら。
以前とは状況が違う。分かってるはずだ。これがお前の飛び方か？
感覚拡張は脳の情報処理能力が急激に上昇したことによる現象よ。視覚や聴覚が鋭敏になったり、時間感覚に変調をきたす。
Superhuman
私
even.
たちの歌はそれを抑制するはずなのに。
このまま進行して自我意識を失えば、バール化する危険性がある。
颯が私の歌でバ
Are we gonna bring up Messer at least one more
お前の
time?
歌とは関係ねえ。
だったら実験で
It literally has everything to do with your singing.
And your hair clip.
I would say his necklace, but you took it off.
始めます。
The problem is that she has to be really into it while she's singing, and she's clearly not. Sorry, it's that hallway trap from Resident Evil. The lasers
she
are gonna
can't
come
sing.
out and she's gonna get chopped into a million pieces.
フレフレ歌えなくなってる。状況悪化の一途。
ミクモもまだ戻ってこないし、フレイヤもこんな状態じゃ。
クマクマのこと何か聞いてる？
There's been plenty of situations where only one of you has sang and it worked.
録音に切り替えます。
そんなことしても無駄ですよ。
See, they're doing the weird fuzzy thing that I was talking about with Makumos. So I guess it means nothing, it's just our bouncing ball.
おい、今の何なんだよ。あんなんじゃ証明できねえだろ。なんでフレイヤに歌わせねえんだよ。
歌わせなかったわけじゃない。
彼女歌えなかったの。
お前はしばらく任務から外す。
Before you become like Messer.
分かったよ。
It is a weird dynamic, right?
Mm-hmm.
We've got to shelf you because you're our best pilot, and you're only getting better.
Well, it's also a matter of losing control.
Yeah, I
Right?
understand that, but the elements of losing control, again, you get better, you get better, you get better, you get better, you get better. Vars. It's like, okay.
サク
There we go. We invoked his name. You know, clearly they're gonna kiss by at least episode 25. Her and
Maybe.
Arad, I mean.
Oh, him.
Well, she was just giving him the eyes.
Well, the eyes of concern or eyes of love?
俺のせいであいつが歌えないなんて。
They're similar.
Longing? I don't say
Not the same.
longing.
Longing, yeah.
Or seeking acceptance.
まったく何やってるんだ。
I've said many times over, I'm no good with this emotional stuff, so I can't tell what people's looks are giving me.
あれみんなまだなんだ。どうかなり厳重。そっか。でも大丈夫。うん開かないドアはない。
Except for that one next to our closet. The key. We've never found the key.
歌声に反応していたように思いましたが、確かにあの女、ミクモと言ったな。奴の歌声は風の歌を打ち破ったような。ワルキューレの中には裏切り者がいる。
I know I brought up last time that it was like
そいつのルーンを研究したのだ。
possible sister angle, but I did think when I was taking my notes, what if it's your mother?
ですが、その研究成果が歌声に反映
Or
さ
it
れ
could
て
be
い
the
るとしか思え
concubine,
ません。
consort, or whatever.
でなきゃ、陛下の負
Maybe.
担が。
Could be
もういい。
Heinz's mother.
Now, the uniform doesn't fit anymore, does it?
カシム、どうかした
Or
の
is he
か。
feeling
何でもありません。
the itchiness? The white
乾燥
flakes.
クラゲです。リンゴの古種によく合うそうですよ。
あいにくだが、クラゲは嫌いだ。
おや残念。珍味ですのに。
で、クラゲ食いどもとの商談はどうだった？
どうと聞かれましても守秘義務がございますからね。
そのふわふわした立ち回り。お前はまさしく陸のクラゲだな。
ゆらゆらとしつつも毒を持つ者もおります。褒め言葉と受け止め
Also, they say that some of them are people reincarnated into jellyfish form.
プロトカルチャーシステムの力を解明できたらマインドコントロール装置を量産し、ロイド様は戦争に利用、我々は事業を拡大し
You've got to know that my end goal here is to be that they mass produce the mind control devices and then Sound Force shows up, who defeated mind control devices in their own series.
No, I don't think that's going to happen.
I said it's my goal.
これはこれはキース
But that it will, but it's my hope.
お邪魔なようですな。では私はこれで。
But again, we're also
Yeah.
retreading that from 2 seasons ago.
That guy is so slimy.
He's just a
He's
merchant.
playing both sides.
Yeah, well,
No, I think
as
it's more
is a
than that.
war merchant would do.
Yeah, I think it's more than that. I think what's going to happen is once those mind control devices are established, he's going to take control of them.
Well, that's why he has to research the protoculture stuff.
Mm.
Agnes?
The way they were rushing, I thought it was going to attack him or something.
Maybe they thought that's what's going to happen, yeah. Now it turns around and pecks at Ida. Oh, it's...
陛下、
So-
申し訳ありません。
That's just like a hawk.
驚きました。
No, it actually has the crest of the family. So.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's like a hawk. Like, when you see the guys that have, like, the leather thing on their arm and they have a trained hawk.
アインツ様は幼い頃より動物に愛されておいでだった。
Yeah, he's a little Disney
どんなに
princess.
獰猛な行標でさえ、
Or prince in
猫
this
のように
case.
おとなしくなったものでした。申し遅れました。息子のノーマンにございます。この度、
Uh-oh.
白染めを仰せ
He looks like somebody's gonna die soon.
陛下にはお初にお目にかかります。
この流暢観察がついてるが、もしやドラヘハウゼに？
はい、そのつもりですが。
I know I made the joke before about runes being like dicks, and I'm going to avoid that now. But maybe it's like fingernails?
確かに戦の
You know, like,
そのような余裕の
Chinese magistrates have really long fingernails to imply that they don't have to do any work, any manual labor.
ドラヘハウゼ
Maybe the longer your hair is to imply the least you need to do physically.
陛下、その後お加減は？
悪くない。
では、私はこれで。ご苦労。
Okay, so what were... where's the other doctor?
Well, remember, he didn't want to do
First and
this
foremost.
because there's apparently doing something negative and he couldn't live with himself. I also think we're getting shown these guys would have, like, short runes and hidden runes
まさか。
to establish that you can hide this shit vis-a-vis Mikumo.
I don't think Mikumo is a Windemirian, though.
She used the Windemirian word for that title thing that these guys have thrown around. The king used
That might not
it,
be
Heinz
Windemirian.
used it.
That might be proto-culture language. They have their own language.
I don't...
分かっている。
Could be. It just doesn't line up in my head.
担当医が変わった。以前の担当医は故郷へ帰った。後任の者も優秀な医師だ。
Yeah, the other one is dead already.
キース様？どうなさいました？ お前たちの実家は薬も扱っていたな。もちろん。うちはウィンダミア一の品揃えを誇る商家ですからね。もしかして白騎士様。
We
Big
believe in
pharma right here.
holistic medicines.
惚れ薬美
How
薬
much water
何で
did you
もご用意
want?
できますよ。何なりとおっしゃってください。バカだ。それでご用件とは？調べてもらいたいことがある。
Remember, the more you separate it in water, the more effective it'll be.
That's next on bit.
Told you, completely meaningless. Didn't even last a full minute.
Somebody played a prank on him, was bullying him.
新入りへの手洗い歓迎は騎士団の伝統でね。僕もやられたよ。しかし、上級生に
Someday I'll have more than one pair of glasses. You read me.
俺の方が強い。1対1なら負けない。弱いくせに年上ってだけで威張るような人間は気に入らない。僕もだよ。ロイド・ブレームだ。俺は知ってるよ。よろしく。キースエアロ・ウィンダミア君。
I'll be honest, I actually thought that was Bogue for a second. I forgot how young Bogue actually is.
お前は今どこを飛んでいる？
Okay, that trumpet was like, okay.
Just goes to show
that
how
was kind
much
of weird.
just goes to show how much Bogue is actually like Keith used to be. Yeah, maybe you shouldn't have
yeah.
told her about the Vars thing, so you could actually get an effective test out of her.
セキュリティ解除成功。
You already
こ
cracked
れ
it.
で医療船内部の構造は入手できたも同然。
Oh, never mind, your stuff.
あとは侵入経路の確保か。医療船に侵入って
So we're getting the same story, basically, from two different sides.
そこは私の迫真の演技と変装
The
ね
Windemirians are trying to... Sorry, Keith is trying to investigate the medical practice going on Hines.
こんなことしてただ
And they're trying to investigate the medical practice going on with Bakomo.
分かってる。でも成功法では無理だって思ったから。ちょこちょこっと。私たち心配なの。三雲のことが。くもくもは何考えてるかわからないし、私たちに心を開いて
Well,
く
I
れて
mean,
ない
now that she's up in the back to tank, probably not much.
Yeah.
今もちょっとは思っている。三雲自身が私たちのことをどう思っているかも全然わからない。でも私たちワルキューレは今までずっと一緒にいろんなピンチを乗り越えてきた仲間。違う？かなかな？このまま放っておけない。だからお願い。わかった。
As far as they don't pull the tact of we're the most famous people and the most important people in this entire situation,
Yeah.
what are you gonna do?
True.
Arrest us?
Hmm.
Just walk on in. Has this necklace gotten more pink? I remember it used to be purple.
Still purple.
That looks pink to me.
俺のことは気にせず全力で歌えって。
けど
お前のせいで暴走なんかしな
Well,
い
that
って
shot
証
it
明
looks
するって言
purple.
ったろ。
It was pink in the last scene.
大丈夫だ。
私歌うのやめる。
は？
そしたら颯は飛べるから。
何言ってんだ。お前自分の言ってること分かってんのか？
分かっとる。
分かってねえよ。お前は歌え。俺が飛ぶのをやめる。
いけん。私がやめる。
いや、俺がやめる。
私が。
俺だ。
私。
俺。俺。
アーネスト艦長の依頼で
I mean, not like it would make any sense either way,
搬送されてくる模様です。
症状は
because other people singing will still set him off.
患者は要ばっかにあって
プロトカルチャーシステムの影響が
Hello, nurse.
第一関門突破。次は
Oh, never mind. You're right, that's somebody who already knew.
I mean, she is the hello nurse. Oh, the
ご苦労様です。
よし通れ。
Well, she was born 21 something. Quite a bit older than I would have suspected.
時間ごとに ID のセキュリティが変更されている。
どけ。
じゃあ颯はこのまま飛べんでもええの？
俺のことより
Quite obviously, the guard was about to let her through with his own code thing.
歌うことは大好きだけど、それと同じくらい。いい加減にしてください。
ミラージュ。
フレイヤ。
What do you guys think about a polygamous
あなた
relationship?
は歌を歌うためにわざわざウィンダミアからやってきたんでしょ？それにその故郷と戦うことになっても、ここに残って歌うって決めたんじゃないの？それ
I mean,
は
that's
そ
the
うだけ
point.
ど、だったら歌いなさい。あなたから歌を取ったら
And
何
you,
が残るの？
Hayate, you've literally got nothing. You've got nothing.
いつも言ってるウィンダミア魂とやらは
you're
ど
an
こに行った
employee
の？
bum. What the hell? You
今
have
こそ
not a
それを発
job.
揮する時じゃ
Nothing.
ないの？
We picked you from the streets.
根性なし、このいじけたリンゴ娘。
Just the idea how much she's given up to be here, and you just quit your job yesterday.
っていうか、飛ばなかったらあなたにだって何
Oh,
が
that's
残
what I
る？
told him. You have
何を
nothing
やって
left.
も長続きしなかったくせに。で、ようやくパイロットって仕事を見つけて、これからって時に飛ぶのをやめる？何それ？笑わせないでよ。またどっか行くんですか？放浪ですか？それでいいんですか？このゲロダメ男。
Ah,
Oh,
that
wow.
old
Vomit
nickname.
boy. Yeah.
It's ironic she used to use it on
フ
her.
レイヤが歌をやめるのも、
Mm-hmm.
そんなことできるはずがないでしょ。あなたたち、いつまでもこんな状態でいていいわけがない。颯は飛ぶ、フレイヤは歌う。これは二人のやるべ
Ringo
きこと
plays the
というだ
drums.
けじゃなく、今私たちがしなければならないことなんです。
Very well,
ど
by
う
the
して
way.
一緒に乗り越えようって言えないんですか？
Still does.
フレイヤ、颯
At
のこ
what,
とを思うん
80
だから
some years
こ
old?
こはちゃ
90
ん
years
と
old?
歌わなくちゃ。颯も颯です。あなたが飛ぶのをやめるなんて言葉を吐いて、フレイヤが歌えると思うんですか？わかりました。だったらフレイヤのことも颯のこと
See,
も
that's why she's the
私が
second in
守って
command
みせ
now.
ます。二人は
I
今ま
have
で
to
通りにして
think
くだ
that
さい。
something is going to come of the Hines medical investigation
二人を作戦に
or the
加えてほしい
Nakoma one, because this is getting me nowhere.
そこまでしてくれるん？
True.
I already understand that these two love each other.
それは
She's not pushing her own thing any more forward than she did at the bedside.
それに二人は大切な仲間ですし、
It would be very
How
forward.
would you say?
It would be.
大好きだからです。
There we go. I would say it would be very forward of this show to just solidify a polygamous relationship.
今すぐ隊長
Why
の
not,
ところ
right?
に行きます。
Why not have one triangle that is just a fucking triangle? Let's just do it.
Yeah. But it kind of when that happens, it kind of leaches all the conflict out of the triangle, which
We've
is
got
what people
other
use.
conflicts to worry about.
大好きだからか。
Plus, you know, we've done it in every other Macross. Let's not just do the same thing over again. He legit just had his own code chip out. He was just gonna... Also, isn't an intruder alert? She was admitted. She's effectively just a patient that's on the run.
ビクモン。答えて、ビクモン。夢は君が
I think this is probably the best song of the show. It's either that or the Run 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 one from when Freya jumped off the side of the thing. What do you do, shoot me? Do it. You want Vars? Do it. This is fucking stupid. I think I've said that every episode that we've reacted to so far.
What?
Although, to be fair, I think I reacted that way to stuff you've said. What you thought was happening. I said that would be fucking stupid. This is stupid.
Why? Okay, why is it stupid though? What's
They're
the part
the
that you're
only
not agreeing with?
they're the only barrier against bars. You're not going to shoot your only barrier against being mind controlled. I'm not saying them running to find Makumo is stupid. I'm saying the guards rushing in with their guns pulled is stupid.
I mean, they're securing the area. They have a job to do. They're not shooting them. They're gonna, you know.
The threat is that I will shoot you. What's the other threat of I have my gun trained on you? So either you're gonna fulfill the threat that you're gonna do, or you're not. In which case, this is a worthless effort. You might have just walked in without a gun.
I mean, they already have the gun, so they're gonna point it at them. It's not gonna be a thing that you're not gonna do.
No, that is a thing you shouldn't have done. Because why do I have to keep repeating to you? They're the only barrier against bars.
Okay, they're just gonna detain them because they're going into an area they're
then
not
don't
supposed
pull
to.
a fucking
That's
gun.
it.
You know what's gonna happen? You accidentally shoot them. Or what happens if, I don't know, Heinz starts singing, one of you gets fucking terminal with bars. Like, any moment, any of you, something could fucking happen. Don't pull your fucking guns. Don't aim a gun at somebody you're not willing to pull the trigger on.
Oh, that is a point.
That's what I'm saying. You aim the gun, you're threatening them with the ability to shoot them. Heinz sings any fucking goddamn time he wants. Also, sometimes they sing and people go crazy with Vars, as per Messer and Hayate.
Oh.
Pulling guns on your only barrier against mind control is so fucking stupid.
Are those? Okay, I wonder, are those supposed to be double helixes? No, they're not.
No.
They're just...
We haven't pulled that since
it would be
Macross
interesting.
0.
Yeah. Okay. Desire's Secret.
Yeah, we're going to find out the episode after the ones we were too willing to watch today. Damn it! Anyway.
Yeah.
As I said before, everything that I keep saying happens right after I say it. I said, I'm surprised they haven't pulled the "we're too important for you to threaten." And technically they didn't do it, but the side effects of the same thing still happened. And again, they run into the room with their guns pulled on literally the person that they just had hack the galactic network. So, that thing that we need them to, 1, keep the Vars off of us for, and 2, keep the galactic network open for us for. You're literally way too important for us to harm.
Well, I think the guards are just responding to the alarm, right? They're just like, oh, there's an alarm here, and we're just going to respond to it.
My favorite part when I'm at the hospital is when the guards march full arms, bar down the hall with guns drawn at hip level. Nothing will scare those patients more out of their sickness than whatever, I guess, code black. I don't know what normally would happen in a hospital other than somebody having an explosive inside of them, which is what a code black is.
I mean, they're in a military situation where they could be attacked at any moment. Yes, I know what you're saying, that the best defense is them. But at the same time, they don't know who this girl is who's pretending to be a nurse, right? They don't recognize her.
Yeah,
they might recognize...
You remember when I said that sort of thing, and I instantly pulled back as the stupidest fucking thing I possibly ever could have said? That the most famous group in the galaxy can't instantly be recognized on face.
It's a Superman effect.
It's not a Superman effect. They're not putting glasses on. Also, Superman hunches. He puts on the false. Literally, I said, "Hello, nurse."
Only it's one movie series, which is a Superman movies originally, and in pre-crisis. Before or after that, Clark Kent just stands fully up, and he just wears glasses. It's the effect that people don't want to believe that the person. I mean, it happened to you. Remember the story you told me about Alan Alda? Remember that you were not really sure.
That didn't happen
to me. You kept making a joke.
The only way that story works, is that you pulled out proof. Actually, I found out that Alan Alda was visiting. Not going to dox myself. Your state at exactly the time that you told me that you thought you saw Alan Alda, or you told this guy that he was Alan Alda. No, unless you're pulling that information out, like with receipts, this doesn't work as a story. Because, I also live in an area where a ton of impersonators live. Because, what do you call it? Carolina Theater. I'm doxing myself.
Don't say it. Don't say it. No,
there's a bunch of places around here that do, big show impressions of people. Like, people paid well for their impressions of famous people. So, to see people around here that are
Have
actually.
You heard the joke about what's his name, the famous skater?
Brian Boitano?
No, not Peralta.
I said
What's the other one?
Boitano.
I know you said
Peralta
Boitano.
was the guy from Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
No, but it's also one. There was a famous skater back in the day called Peralta. I'm talking about the one that has a video game.
I feel like people are going to be impressed that we already named 2 skaters.
Yeah,
which should be like outside of the bailiwick. If you think like 2 older guys watching anime, can you name 2 famous ice skaters? We got 2.
It has a game. It has a game. It has a series of games named after him.
Tony Hawk Ice Skater.
Tony Hawk Pro Skater.
Wait, I'm sorry. You said ice skater. You literally said ice skater, and now you're saying pro skater. We named 2 ice. Well, I named an ice skater. I guess we got 1 then. Because apparently
a pro skater. No, not a ice skater.
I could have gotten Tony Hawk like right off the bat if you said pro skater. That's the only skating game guy I know.
Well, yeah, it happens all the time when people are like, I know you look kind of like Tony Hawk, but they're like, they don't know. It's like, yeah, clearly you're not Tony Hawk. It's like, yeah,
I would never have said that myself because I've seen a Tony Hawk impersonator once, and I've never seen the actual Tony Hawk.
Yeah, so it happens to real life celebrities all the time.
I know, you've told me this with Alan Alda when I told you the Alan Alda story, but I'm just saying that I didn't meet the real Alan Alda pretending to be somebody else. I didn't go like Alan Alda's hunching his way through the place that I told you that I thought I saw him at, pretending to not be Alan Alda. And that's why when I said, hey, you sound and look a lot like Alan Alda, he's like, not me. You know, it's not what was happening here. That's not prescient to the story we're talking about. By the way, that's how you can really tell old fucking men, right? My celebrity meet is Alan Alda, a man I think is not famous since MASH. Or I guess if you enjoyed the World War Z, I didn't watch West Wing.
He was in West Wing too.
World War Z, I think he did the voice of not the vice president. He's the guy who was getting supplies in California when everybody falls back behind the Rockies. If you've if you've listened to the audiobook of World War Z.
The audio drama, because there are multiple voices, yeah.
Well, yeah, but it's still an audiobook. Technically, there are not a lot of characters. I guess if you count Max Brooks himself as the interviewer, then I guess there are characters interacting with one another. But mostly it's the one person telling the story.
Anyway,
my point being is I think it's still incredibly stupid not to recognize on face value the most famous people in the area that you live. Legitimately,
you might not believe that they're there. Why would this person be here? You're like,
legitimately, you see their holograms all over the goddamn place. They just did a galactic network break where they fucking popped out of the screens. Not for nothing, the one that you're detaining at the door, not knowing who she is the main one who got visually, because, boom, 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 that's her.
Yeah, but she's covered, though.
Doesn't matter. Her face was still there, and I know you're going to do the sexist thing if nobody was looking at her face. Well, I don't know, man.
I mean, that's what the show implies. I'm not saying that. The show was saying
I'm just saying her face was all over that broadcast, so... And then, not for nothing, but the other one running down the hall is also the former leader of the group. And you're on security detail because Makumo, the current leader of the group, is here. You gotta know. So that's why I think that's fucking stupid. And then, again, I'm just never going to be on board with the pointing the guns at one of the other members of the team. What are you going to do? What if, right? What if she, went into fight mode? You going to shoot her? What happens if the other members of the team are getting shot at the same moment? Do you all just, can go into VARs? It's the most self-destructive move I could think. I guess not, because my hope was... I said the whole thing could turn around if they did a reveal, because the whole episode was literally about investigating the medical situations of both Makumo and Hines. And I said the rest of this episode felt pointless if they don't, do that reveal. And it very clearly seems as though next episode is going to be the reveal, which means that everything here was stupid.
Series does is they do an episode where they're like, oh, let's talk about our feelings, stuff like that, and whatever. Oh, you thought you were going to reveal this? Nah, we'll leave it till next episode. And we're running out of episodes. So it feels like it's being rushed. Like they're
We're
leaving
in the
everything to
best
the
half
last
of the
minute.
show, apparently.
I mean, it's good, but it's not perfect. They do this. Like I said, this show is okay. For Macross, it's okay so far. It isn't the best. It isn't the worst.
I will say that I
think.
tend to remember these series more on the overall and not like the filler shit. Like I love Macross 7 now in hindsight, even though I would say that you could get rid of like 75% of the show and probably be perfect. Again, what was FB7? But all of the filler removed. So yeah, I really like Macross 7 despite all the complaints I had along the way, because my memory, I just abandoned all the shit I didn't like. So the more shit I liked, the more I remember the show. And obviously I have problems remembering shit from Macross Plus because I just didn't like a lot of it. So when I think back fondly to the things I did like, I'm like, what? Sorry, I'm forgetting the guy's name. Well, I guess I'll try to remember his name some other time. I guess there's not much up to go over here. So once again, I have been Theta. This has been Lessons. We've been Stone-Faced Reactions, and we will catch you next time. Bye-bye.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching another Stone-Faced Reactions. If you have an idea of another video we could go ahead and watch, go ahead and put it in the comments down below and we'll add it to the wheel. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let us know what you thought about this video and what parts you liked. And until then, we'll see you next time. Is this too goofy?